That should work out a bit better. Duncan Cowper at Pikes Peak. Let's watch that. That's amazing. And this car has been sitting in a shed for a year, waiting for Duncan to jump in and go. Welcome, John.
Hi, Jim. You're right.
Doing okay? Just walk.
Yeah,
just
doing great.
Just watching Duncan going up the hill.
Absolutely mental.
Yeah, got a replay of Formula E in London playing because we're in Canada. We're not getting the live feed, so it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
On the other channel, we may just drop in to see. It's basically browsing because there's not too many of us are all that terrific e-bike or e-racing fans.
Well, it's interesting you should say that because I've got a couple of people like Paul Compton or whatever his name is with his electric cars.
Oh, yeah.
Hoping to do a stream with him soon.
Oh, I'm not I'm not doubting that. I happen to think it is the way forward for the future, but not everybody is on board with it.
It's definitely not for me at the moment. No.
Yeah.
I was amazed with Duncan Cooper though because he did was it a 10-minute? I think he did last year, and he did slightly over this year.
Yeah. But he still came in 8th overall.
8th overall, yeah. Has to be one of the fastest DAX rush I've ever seen on a hill climb.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that he's doing hill climbing, one wrong move and you're off the mountain. Look at that.
Yeah. You've got no runoff. You've got no runoff whatsoever.
Well, you do have some runoff, but you run right off.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a 10-mile course. I think it is. it a 10-mile course?
Could very well be. I don't know. But
Yeah,
folks, if you
yeah.
want to join us live, the link is included on the Facebook page. Just click it and join in. Love to have you. So you're working on a few things as we're chatting. Um, you mentioned the e-car. Are you planning to do a recording or a live stream with some folks?
Probably a recording, because then it'll be in full HD.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not interviewed the guy before, but yeah, it's quite interesting because he had a Scirocco electric powered car that he
Uh-huh.
built himself, or what he
Yeah.
converted, sold it, and then I think it was about 10 or 15 years later, it came back up for sale, and he bought it back again.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like restoring that. But then he's now also built a electric Quantum.
Oh, okay. That's
Uh,
cool.
yeah. So I'm quite, and it was also featured on. I say featured. It was also on Scrap Heap Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is a popular UK series
Yeah.
where you turn up in a scrapyard, build a
Yeah.
car,
I
whatever.
love that show.
Yeah, and he was one of the experts. Paul
Mm-hmm.
Compton was one of the experts on the electric scrap heap challenge. So I'll be really interested to see the guy. I know he's got communication issues at the moment. He's for whatever reason, when I message him, he's
Mm-hmm.
not getting on messages, but he will get them eventually. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I hope to bring up that thing, because I think we've done quite a bit on electric cars. Who's that guy in? I was going to say Rio de Janeiro, but it wasn't. It's Barbados. Was it Barbados?
Yeah, Barbados. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's not going to be probably doing a recording with us anytime soon. He's got battery issues in that car, and the economy is such where he works that he just doesn't have the funds to put back into that car right now. So
yeah.
his focus is on developing his own personal economy, and that's about it.
And we did the build with Martin as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
and of course you did the interview with GBS. I'm interested to see more about that car, because when you did the interview, although it was
I
it
was gobsmacked, because it was a major launch. Well, I say major launch. It wasn't a major launch, but it was
mhm,
a electric car being launched at Malvern, and
mhm,
nobody covered it. Nobody
yeah,
covered it at all. I don't know.
yeah,
All a bit weird.
yeah. Well, I'm interested to see more about it, because as I think in our private conversations, you said that the car was presentable for the purposes of the show, but
Yeah.
there was still things to do, shall we say,
Yeah,
before.
under the bonnet wise, front wise, where the batteries were going to go, but it is ready to go.
Yeah, well, that's what they've advertised on their website, folks, and you
Yeah,
should probably go take a look at it, because you can have it tailor made for your own use, however you want to use it. You can have as many batteries stuffed in there as you need
yeah,
for
yeah,
whatever application you're planning to do, and just have a chat with Richard, and he'll get that sorted for you.
yeah. Well, they're always a good bunch at GBS, but I think it was the Tesla. I think it was the Tesla. I think was it the rear drive unit or the
I
front
think he
drive
said the
unit?
rear drive. Yeah,
The rear drive. Yeah, the rear drive unit is kind of like, when you kind of like position them up. Not that I've ever done it. They're kind of like a bit more vertical, so
yeah.
easy to fit in the front drive unit.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're right. You're right, Jim. You can spec it up with whatever batteries you want, whether you want 600 volts or
Yeah.
well, we're talking scary numbers volts wise now. You've got to know what you're
Oh
doing.
my God. Yeah.
And we talked about the IVA process as well.
Yeah.
How to get an electric
I'm
kit
going to turn the
car.
volume down just a little bit there. That works better, a little bit better. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So we were talking about how to get an electric kit car
Yeah.
that you built yourself through IVA.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I don't think anybody really knows how to do it. But Richard was explaining that all the electrics that they've got in it
Hmm.
like the electrical speed control unit, the obviously the Tesla unit that they're using, and all the battery packs. They're all EU certified,
Yeah.
so that should get you a long way. You still got the well, through get through IVA. You still got the usual, IVA 2.5 millimeter radius on all edges inside the cockpit, all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Well
fascinating.
done, Duncan. Congrats. Look at that. I better close that window out now. I'll drop that window down. Excuse me for holding you up there.
That's all right.
Yeah. Stop sharing on that one. And we'll put us back to the studio. And yeah, here we go. I'm going to put this one over there, and we'll put this up like so. See if I can do this properly.
I have actually been watching or following the Formula E
Yeah,
because I find it fascinating. They don't just pop in and charge it for 30 minutes or whatever. Do you
well,
know what I mean?
yeah, I do know what you mean. I really hadn't had much interest in it, and of course, I think that we covered was the NEC event, and then I think it was Craig Hutchinson pointed one out, and he pointed out how
Yeah,
tiny they
tiny,
are.
absolutely tiny.
Yeah,
But the speeds they're getting out of them. I mean, look at the opposite lock on there that he's got
yeah,
there.
yeah. No, I mean,
Absolutely incredible.
oh yeah, and yeah, it is, and it's
Look at that. Look at he's got full opposite lock there. I mean, geez.
yeah, it's amazing stuff. There's something about the spectacle of motorsports when you can actually get down there and see all of the mechanical bits. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying that the electricals are not as proficiently put together and all that kind of stuff, but there's something about a mechanical thing where so much time and effort has been put into creating a motor.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Exactly.
all the
Yeah.
rest of it, and you just don't get that feeling with this. And
No, it's almost like. Well, I wouldn't say it. Well, I will say it's almost like bolting in like a washing machine
yeah,
motor
I
into
suppose.
a car, which it doesn't quite have the same sex appeal.
Well,
But
there's that part, but it just doesn't have the romance, the sound, all the
the
all
smells,
yeah,
smells and sound as well.
yeah,
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 yeah.
and yeah, it's just. I mean, look at them go. I mean, it's amazing stuff, but it's just it just doesn't hold my interest quite the same way.
No, I must admit. I mean, I think you asked ages ago, have I been out in or somebody asked me, have I been out in an electric car or a
Yeah,
Tesla? And
yeah,
I still haven't yet. I don't. I think I will do.
yeah.
I will go and have a test drive in one. But is it for me? I at the moment, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I've got friends who have them, and I've been I've gone for rides in lots of them, and I like them. But I mean, it's in terms of a daily commuter, I can see them having a terrific place in the automotive world. But in terms of a long-term ride, I just like I've been for a long ride in a vehicle like that, and then you get so far, and then you got to pull over and then wait until you
Yes.
can get a charge
And
on.
there's only so many coffees and pastries that you can have.
Exactly. Well, it's
While you
more than
wait.
that. I mean, you have to wait. You really do have to wait.
Well, I mean, battery technology is coming on. Let's put it that
Mhm.
way. And a lot of them don't set fire to themselves these days.
Yeah, which is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. And in terms of what I'm doing over at Seven Spot, we're now working on creating another webinar. And folks, if you are interested in building and you want to join a webinar, and just the same way as we're doing the invitation right now, we want folks to be able to tune in and join the webinar, not only by text and being able to communicate that way, but if you'd like to join the table with your own plans of what you want to do, yeah, please just go to our YouTube page and click the link. You'll be able to register for it. But aside from that, we're also we've just watched Duncan go up the hill. I've talked to Duncan, and we want to do.
Top guy,
Oh,
really nice,
yeah,
total
and
gentleman,
yeah,
total gentleman.
yeah, totally. And we want to do a show with him about his exploits of hill climbing. And Ted Theodore is
Yeah,
planning to.
I was going to say, just touching on Duncan.
Yeah,
He built that. What is it? It's Dax Rush
yeah,
Turbo Hayabusa.
yeah,
Built it with his father,
yeah.
who's now his late father, and his late father never ever got to see it run at Pikes Peak, which
I did
was
not know that.
no, which was two years ago.
Hmm.
So his late father, they both built the car with his late father never got to see it run in Pikes Peak, which
Yeah,
is if you watch back the videos of Duncan Power, uh, Duncan Racing,
yeah,
he actually carried his dad's ashes
yeah. He,
in a cask in the car up
hmm.
the hill and said, when he got to the top, Dad, we've made it,
Yeah,
and that is a true testament to like total dedication. We
yeah,
built this car. You might not be with me, but you're coming with me.
yeah. Well, I've talked to Duncan about doing a show with us, and he's up for that. And I've also
Yeah.
talked to our friend Gary Sanders about
Oh
his.
yes.
They're great friends with
Yeah.
Duncan
Yeah.
and so on. And I
Has
know that
Gary still got a shop, a car shop?
no, he's not affiliated with XES anymore. That I think it
Right,
was a
because that
couple of
car
years ago.
moved on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody else. I think. Yeah.
yeah, but he's still pretty active. I'll just put it that way. And I mean, he continues to build. But we're going to be doing sort of a life story. I mean, one of the things that we love doing is telling the stories of people's lives in the kit car world. And uh, he's a major player, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's
Yeah,
the
and a top-notch guy. I mean, you can actually talk to the guy, right? I mean, there's lots of
yeah.
people who are shall we say, celebrity types of people, and he's just a real human being. I love it.
I know exactly what you're saying there, Jim, because there's some people in the kit car, past kit car industry where you couldn't really approach them.
Well, that's just what I'm
Um,
getting at. I'm not saying that
yeah, it's
they're bad people, but
no,
I will say
no,
that one of the things that you and I do, and we're in the process of doing right now, is reaching out to touch a number of people about doing some work with us. And we're not going to let the cat out of the bag too much, but it's sometimes it's difficult to get a response out of some people. And
but I tell you what, Jim, when we visit people's sheds, we just say, point a camera, tell us about your car, and
yeah,
that is when we get, or we
yeah,
all get, the best stories. Everyone likes talking about a car. Everyone likes showing people's car. But when you actually get behind it, like the why did you build it?
yeah.
What, why did you go for that model? That is when you get the best stories. And some of the stories that we've come out with, on some of the streams that we've done, are just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. And getting back to Gary, I know Gary and Duncan are close friends. And one of the ideas that I came up with, they don't even know it yet. But I'm thinking, Duncan knows Gary so well. Look at this. We got Dave. Hey, hey, Dave. Don't tell us who won.
Is he like an hour ahead or
no? It's just like I've got the feed here in Canada, and it's time delayed. So he's actually watched this. But welcome, Dave. If we're not hearing you, so you may want to play with your audio. Are you with us?
I can't see whether his mic.
Yeah, he'll get that sorted. Yeah, but getting back to Gary and Duncan, I did ask. Yeah, we heard that. Yeah, that sounds much better. I can hear you tapping. But before we get into that conversation, I'm going to say that I do want to talk about Gary and Duncan. They're good buddies,
Yeah,
and um, I know that Duncan.
true petrol heads.
Well, there you go. What with Duncan has agreed to do a hill climbing show with us, and Gary has agreed to do a Life and Times of Gary Saunders show with us.
Oh
And I
wow, that'd
thought,
be brilliant.
what a great idea! I thought would be
Yeah.
is if they could interview each other, and we can be flies on the wall. That would be
Yeah,
fabulous. And
we just sit back. I have to say, I'm quite fascinated with the whole hill climbing thing. I've never been on one, never done it.
yeah,
But when I was cleaning out my MK Indy, which I bought, it wasn't built. I bought it second hand.
hmm
I found a hill climb ticket, and it has actually done a hill climb in Yorkshire
yeah.
somewhere. And it apparently did rather well. I've got no idea about hill climbing, but it's something that's kind of like, it kind of just interests me because running, well, as you know, Jim, running a bike engine car on the street, you can't really open it up that much.
You can, but you get pulled over.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. But on like a hill climb, you just go for it.
Yeah.
Stick it. I'll probably end up sticking it through a hedge or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's something it's in the back of my mind. But in the back of my mind, well, like also going out and driving an electric car.
Yeah.
That's very much in the back of my mind.
Well, getting back to what our plans at Seven Spot are, I have been talking to Ted Theodore also about doing hill climbing shows. Now he's big. He's big into hill climbing. I mean, he organized the Dragon hill climb. That's his baby, and he's also he's got a number of people that he's brought in. He
had a mental car as well. He did really well in hill climbing. He's like possibly world class, but he won a lot of medals.
Yeah, oh yeah. He had a Mega Busa, which is Westfield.
Yeah.
It was hot.
It was like massive 3 wings or 4 wings on the back, and the splitted on the front, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, he wants to do a North American show on hill climbing, and I'm trying to put that together. And now it's a matter of timing because he's going to be in Europe in the next little bit, and I'll be getting together with him when he comes back to Earth, and we'll put it together. But in the meantime, I'll be in touch with Duncan and Gary and see if I can convince the two of them. They could do an interview of each other, and we'll all be just flies on the wall and just listen to their individual stories, and we can play the hill climb that we just watched, and he can comment on that, and he can also comment on aside from taking his dad up the hill, that car went up last year, and that car's been sitting in a storage container for a year.
He couldn't afford to bring it home after last time, so he just left it in a container. Yeah, and then obviously, the crew went out, or whatever crew he's got. I say crew. He does have sponsors, but not major sponsors.
And then I mean, what an adventure too, because he got started in doing that, but he blew up the engine on one of his first runs up the hill, and so they had to do an overnighter before the race.
Yeah, and then they swapped out because they did bring a second engine out. He'd managed to get the money for a second engine.
Yeah,
but the second engine hadn't got all the performance bits on it.
Yeah,
so they did. Yeah, as you say, Jim, they did a 24-hour job swapping the old knackered engine out for the new one, and then swapped all the performance bits out on it.
Yeah.
But even on I think it was the second run or first or second run. The clutch was slipping as well, so he had got problems with that as well.
I didn't know the clutch, but
but it's still to get. Well, I think he did just over 10 minutes, wasn't it? I think it was. It didn't beat the previous record, but it was still
mental time.
Mental time. Yeah.
So tell us, Dave, What's your opinion on e-racing?
Um, it's not it's not harder. It certainly is a lot more, many more position changes
Yeah,
to me.
mostly because they're always crashing into each other.
Well, there's that.
They're
Um,
cl-
I
short, they're
like
very
this,
narrow tracks as well.
and
Well,
the
that's what I mean.
cars
Look
are
at them.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They, I don't know. It seems like a good
I mean,
idea, but also a little weird. But
yeah,
I mean, if you watch Goodwood this week, what went fastest? You
yeah,
know,
Well,
oh,
exactly. Yeah.
super van.
Electric. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
the Ford van, because you can go crazy fast. I think the illusion of like the feeling of speed for the spectator on TV is completely lost
yeah,
Absolutely.
because you don't have a 19,000 RPM 10
you,
cylinder engine going
it,
by and you're
I
like,
yeah,
that's got to be fast. You don't have the
I
feeling of that's got to be fast.
I had exactly the same thing because I used to live in Brackley, which wasn't far from Silverstone. So me and my ex booked tickets to go. This is going back years. We booked tickets to go and watch the Silverstone Grand Prix. And when you watch it on TV, you do not appreciate just how fast they are going into a corner. Because
yeah,
I was stood there at Silverstone, and you could hear the noise, you could smell the cars, and
yeah.
you look at the speed they were going to, and I was thinking he's not going to make that. And all of a sudden, quick flick of the steering wheel, and he was off. He was completely round the corner, no
Hmm.
problem. But you're absolutely right. When you're watching it on TV, you do not get an appreciation just how fast they are going and or into corners. They were hitting corners at like 110, 120 miles an hour and still getting round. You don't get that sense on TV.
Yeah, and that was before ground effect cars came back. And
Exactly. Yeah.
I think in Formula E, if there was more, like if you overlaid even a GT4 car
Yeah.
on a lap, then people would say, "Oh man, nobody thinks that a AMG GT4 car or a Porsche 911 Cup car is slow. Normal people don't think they're slow. It's
Hmm.
not Formula 2, but I don't know what the speed difference is between Formula E and like Formula 3. And if
Hmm.
they put
No
more
idea.
cameras in the barriers and stuff, and you hear that car going by, everybody knows what it's like when somebody passes you and you're standing still. So
What
if
I
you
do,
throw
what,
chuck an electric car into a corner way faster than you could ever do your road car, the
yeah,
illusion of speed is weird, and cameras reduce the illusion of hills too. When we
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
Goodwood,
Yeah.
you can't tell that Goodwood goes up a hill, but it's a hill climb, and it's very famous for going up a hill. When you're talking about a hill
that's a
climb,
good point, Dave. Because you're talking about Goodwood and you're watching the spectacle. The spectacle includes watching different makes, different body designs. Everything is different. It's just like you get a whole range. I mean, I'm watching this right now, and it kind of reminds me of slot races. You know,
it's
when I
like
was a kid.
Yeah.
They
Scale
go.
electric.
They don't.
Scale electric.
You don't smell the
yeah,
exhaust. You don't hear the engines rev. And look at the cars. I mean, you got Jaguar and Porsches, and they all look the same.
it's like the NASCAR of the North to me.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm on this big like whatever of the something kick with my buddy, and
yeah.
chicken of the sea and tuna of the land, and Vancouver is the Venice. Someplace in Sweden is the Venice of the North, and like so.
Hmm.
This is like uh, NASCAR for people who hate NASCAR because
Yeah.
it's a parade.
It
Can
is
I
a
do it?
parade.
Can I do
Yeah,
it? Absolutely not. You don't want me in there. It would be Crash City Turn One. I would go straight in the wall because that's how I race in Forza.
yeah.
You know, like I'm
Well,
not
even
staying up all night actual sim racing rated, but it is cool to watch. And the strategy is very tricky because then at the end they're like, "Oh, you've got 1% energy." It's like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I couldn't get my head around the whole strategy thing with the batteries and the one
and
percent and extra boost and things like that.
they have to
Formula
go
One
through the
does the
power
same
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
They have to go through the power upgrade, like how many, two, three times, and they have
Hmm.
2 minutes to use it. Like somebody will probably go through that sector right now and make
Yeah.
their little power. But then is it remote from the pit wall? I don't understand it. I haven't gotten into it. Would I drive one
No.
to work? Absolutely. You
Yeah.
Absolutely,
know,
me
it
too.
would
Yeah.
be so silly to be able to fool around in one. But you know,
Hmm.
this is where they're trying to.
Well,
It's
and
the
it also
same as
makes sense
Formula One.
economically from the point of view, not the purchase of it, but just to drive it to work and back. Plugging it in, whatever that costs. It's minimal cost to maintain one of those things. But
This, it's almost like watching the Caterham Cup series a little bit. You know, you
yeah.
got to really nail it in qualifying. Hopefully, you get a toe. You go over the line
Hmm.
first, and
Hmm.
then the whole race is just managing who's behind.
I've been following the Cup 200 series, which is the MK
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the boys.
Cup 200 with the Booster boys, all limited strictly. The ECU's limited to limits the engine to 200 brake horsepower, and that is such close racing because the cars are pretty much identical, all limited to 200 brake horsepower. It is down to the driver, and that is what excites me more than Formula One. No, not interested.
Oh, watch today. Today was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, like the Cup 200. But don't they have those? What are they? They look like the Radical. Also, is in the Cup 200 series. I feel like
yeah,
every
it's
time.
yeah, it's in the 750 motor
Oh yeah,
series.
yeah, yeah. Seven fifty
Yeah,
series. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
because
yeah.
that to me, like the arrow of a seven style car and the arrow of a Radical
Completely
is the
different.
difference
Yeah,
between like seconds a lap. So I don't
Hmm.
know
yeah,
how they run. I feel like I always see them in the same race, and then I'm like, well, is this like Le Mans racing where it's three classes all
Yeah.
at once? I don't know how it breaks down. It kind of doesn't matter because we don't have it here. You know, but
yeah.
there are more hill
To,
climbs here. I live close enough that I could go watch a hill climb. There's one in
Yeah.
the
No,
there's like
that gets me back to
Appalachian
the
stuff.
spectacle thing. I mean, that's the part of motorsport that I love is just like the variety, right?
Yeah, I mean this.
absolutely, it's the whole thing of turning up to a racetrack and you can smell it.
Yeah.
You can smell the burnt rubber,
Yeah.
and then you know you're going to eat crap food as well. You're going to go at a hot dog and shit.
Well, it's just like you were talking about Duncan and watching Duncan go up the hill so fast. But then there's guys like Mike Rupp
Yeah,
who's building his low cost, and his is going to be a cruiser, but he plans to use it for the occasional
exactly.
hill climb. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
And he
and
yeah.
used to run like he's helping a guy rebuild a Formula V car too.
yeah.
So and he has experience in that. You know, we were talking yesterday, and I was like, I don't know that certainly not on public roads. Do I even need to know what 100 miles an hour, 8 inches off the ground feels like? And he's like, it feels great. You know, I
Does
said,
feel
well,
great.
I've done it on
Things get
two.
all kind of wavy on the
It's
side.
different on two wheels, and we've all been on two wheels, and you know, with some questionable decision making in the traffic law department, and
Mm.
but usually far from people, and hopefully far from critters. That's the worst thing around here.
Oh, critters are bad.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Like a
I
rabbit,
was really
100 mile an hour rabbit becomes
In Canada, it's moose. We don't
oh
like
yeah,
moose.
dude. And my wife's from
I was
Newfoundland, so
I was rewatching last night the kangaroo episode,
Yeah.
which is quite
mm,
amusing. But also, I mean, coming back to Mike Robb, because he's taken that as he's bought it second hand, but as a frame, as like a project that he's taken on. But he's going to be doing a live stream soon, isn't he, or a webinar?
Well,
yeah,
I do believe that Mike is going to be doing it at a live stream with this guy
yeah.
who also
Exactly,
has
think
purchased
exactly.
a space frame.
Mike and I are going to talk about some stuff. Hopefully, I think from our little thing is just going to be to help people make better choices at the beginning.
Well, and
Yeah,
that's gets me. That's why I popped you into the screen here, Dave, because you're talking about questionable choices. A lot of people will be looking at or hopefully joining the live stream, thinking, uh, I'll build myself my own Lotus 7 or low cost, if you will, and I'm going to purchase somebody else's abandoned project, and I'll save so much money. Perhaps you can. How about? Do you mind if I ask you to speak to that idea? right now.
Well, I paid too much for my frame to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had waited, till I was ready to actually start the project, I would have waited a year and a half, and I probably would have gone and gotten this one that I just, there was one in Kentucky, there was one in Ohio. If it's a 6-hour drive one way, it, yeah, rental truck, blah blah blah, costs money. That was built in, but I probably could have saved 50% of what I paid for my frame.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm, selling off the wheels and the seats is not making up that difference. And I would have had some, like the one I think that was just in Kentucky, it may still be there, already had Miata drivetrain already in it. He had control arms already built, ready for the rear end. Hadn't made the diff mount,
Hmm.
but had the diff, had the transmission, had the engine, motor mounts already made. It was I don't know, probably a book chassis. I don't remember, but it was in an ad, and I think about, oh, I've wasted so much money. Yeah, I have, but that it a little bit comes with the territory. Plus, like the guy who bought the Caterham, his Nashville 420R on
Hmm.
Instagram. I met up with him. He lives down here, about 15 minutes from me. He said I wanted to drive the car. I didn't care about making the project the experience.
Yeah.
So he waited and waited, and he got his from Mountain Motorsports in Colorado or something.
Just
There's a
bought it straight off and
yeah,
jumped in and
built and
drove
done,
it.
and
Yeah.
he didn't have to worry. And it had like 1,200 miles on it when he got it, and now it's
Wow.
got like 6,000 miles on it because he fools around all the time.
Hmm.
And same with Tammy and Stillwell, and I can't remember
Yeah.
Philip.
Tammy and Thomas. Yeah. Yeah.
Thomas. Okay, yeah, like they bought the MK kit, and they've had the teething problems of getting it here, but now, Sean just put a video. They sent 8 kits to Louisiana. I think they
Yeah.
sent a whole truck of
Wow.
things to Louisiana. Like 3
Yeah.
days ago, they filled a 48-foot trail.
Eight kits going out. They've got a. I'm sure I posted it. If not, I will do. But MK have now got a US distributor.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, they have. Yeah.
it's in
Yeah.
Louisiana, and
Yeah. Yeah.
GBS
That's that.
GBS
Yeah.
has a guy in
Louisiana.
California.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is another great feature. Well, I say feature. The likes of MK and GBS,
Hmm.
UK manufacturers can export kits worldwide.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that gives me opportunity to speak to another thing that I'm working on. Our good friend Mark Norden, although he's not going to be doing
Yeah.
a live stream with me just now, we had planned to do one a little while ago, but then his factory had a flood, so we canceled that. That didn't happen. But what I was talking to Tom Jones, who is the North American distributor for MNR,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he plans to do some work with us. So we'll be hopefully doing at least a walk around, but hopefully a lot more on that real soon. And he gave me permission to use some of his media so we can do a little bit of advertising in advance. So that's on the horizon too, guys.
Absolutely, because I think it's great because I see. I mean, obviously, Seven Spot's an international group,
Yeah.
as are some of the other groups that I'm on. And people say, "Where can I buy a kit from?" And I keep telling them, you can order it from the UK and get it shipped straight out to you. And
Yeah.
I think it's 2 or 3 weeks, and that's even by sea freight. Never mind about air freight. So yeah. Even without the distributors, I know GBS have got the
Yeah, in California, you can speak to Paul Barnes,
Paul
and he'll say,
Barnes. Yeah,
yeah,
we did the unboxing.
yeah, that was kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to catch up with him to see whether that car is out of his front living room yet.
Oh yeah, he had like he put the build rack. That's one thing I do like about when you get stuff from GBS because Kevin, right, is the main
Yeah, Kevin
guy
Broomhead.
we
Yeah,
always talk
Yeah.
to. Yeah, and like they send
well,
you the
Kevin,
build rack.
yeah, Kevin Broomhead was a GBS builder. He built his car, loved it so much, and then he applied for a job at GBS. And
Yeah.
do you know what? Do you know what he turned up to for the interview on his first day? his GBS.
Yeah.
As soon as he pulled up with that, I think he pretty much got the job. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's still working there. Loves it.
Yeah. And good for him. He's a great friend of the show too. We love it. We love you, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
I don't ever remember the other guy who's like doing a lot of the engineering. Is it Richard?
Yeah, Richard Hall.
Richard Hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a lot of the engineering and is also one. Gee, I think they call him what is it? They call him the boss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He ends up like in all their videos, right?
Yeah. Richard Hall and Ruth Hall. Richard Hall, especially though. Jim and I swear he doesn't sleep
Yeah.
because he's always coming up with new ideas.
Yeah.
We swear that if he does sleep, he's got a little notepad by the side of his bed. He's always coming up with new ideas for GBS.
Yeah.
Always pushing it forward. And you can see that because it's gone from the Gen 1 to the Gen 2.
Yeah.
Just
like us guys. Yeah, we're right on top of our game too.
I'm on like Gen 6 and it's not even on the road yet. Yeah. Well, I like that the thing about GBS that I like the most is the engineering side of it. Different than XCS because they've already got their camber correction thing.
Anti-camber comp,
neat. Yeah, the camber compensation, front and rear, and now they're making like crazy horsepower all-wheel drive. I'm not sure that's
1,000 horsepower. 1,000 horsepower they're locking out now.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of guys. There's a lot of drag cars down here making power like that.
But not something that weighs
fully built, and they spend 12. Right, not something that only weighs 1,200 pounds.
Yeah,
exactly. But when you
less crazy, less cool to me than like what Richard's doing. Who's like, okay, we're going to make our own billet calipers. I know that works, but we'd rather do it in house. We're going to make our own uprights. The cage integration and the options there, and like, doing the thing about installing the seats where people accidentally put the brackets on backwards, and suddenly their seats 3 inches higher than they thought. They've done a couple of really good things with common problems for builders that are just handy. And people in the comments are like, oh, yeah, I did that. I put the left one on the right side and my seat was too high, and all I had to do was spin it backwards. And it's not something that you would ever think of if it's not labeled, and that's why I think people like MK, they've invested a lot in their socials, and it's really made a huge benefit. Like,
everybody has their own approach,
right? Knows Sean's voice, when it comes on in the background and she's hanging out, and here comes Sean talking about, all right, guys, here we are in the shop, and I'm like, well, we know who that is.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. You've touched on it as well with GBS, because I've read just recently that 95% of everything that comes out the GBS as a kit car is made in house now.
Yeah.
So short of the engine and drivetrain, pretty more than 95% of that, it comes direct from GBS, which you're guaranteed the quality on as well.
And they're doing their own wiring looms too.
They're doing their own wiring looms, the whole bit. Yeah, you haven't got to worry about.
They've mostly adopted the Duratec platform, which is now NC Miata, which is coming down in price. They have their shift linkage that I was like desperately trying to copy. That doesn't work at all in an S2000 transmission, so it won't work for me. It doesn't matter. They have that, and their own. They use Link ECU almost exclusively, I think. And
the ECUs they're running now at GBS and at MK, that they're way more powerful now. So you can run things like ABS. Traction control,
cruise control if you want.
Cruise control, launch control, but also it monitors the engine, so it won't let you rev over a certain amount of revs until the engine, until the oil is at a certain temperature. So it's got all that safety built in, and if the engine does get a bit hot, it will go into limp mode.
That's going to save a lot of people. When everybody else was just hoping and using a Holley or a factory ECU with some ABS sensors programmed out of it. You could still have things go really wrong, especially because you're not using all the sensors from the stock wiring loom and you had to cut it out and shorten wires and do all that. Well, you go to GBS, like I consider just ordering their loom, period, but they don't use Haltech. I'm using Haltech.
Yeah,
So
plug and play.
it's already, all the things are already the right length. Oh, we know where your crank position sensor is going to be. It's on the front in this motor. So we're going to go ahead and make the wiring long enough and you don't have to do it yourself. And it uses all factory connectors and it's very well done. He had that video where he showed it like bolted to the wall. You know, when customers come in, it's like, well, that's an easy way to sell it.
Yeah.
Because then
Yeah.
you know, hey, oh, and you can call them and say, oh, I'm having trouble. And they can say, okay, did plug this, go to plug that. Oh, you put your cam sensor on your intake air temp by accident because it's,
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to modify that so much for your K20 though.
Well, Haltech has, I mean, there are multiple plug and play to factory harness. If I use an 0506 RSX manual, then it's repinning just the crank sensor. But or I can just use a different pin on the ECU as it is. I'm still trying to figure out whether I'm just going to get the jumper box
Yeah.
that takes all the factory pins because I have two wiring looms. I have one from a 05 Accord or something. It's a little bit different and it's probably from an automatic transmission car, so there are a couple things that need to change, but it also might not matter because if I just don't send that signal, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm not. I don't think that I'm going to use a gear indicator or any of that.
Be worthwhile to bring in that fellow from New Zealand that we recently did the live stream with and have a chat with him because he's also got the K20 and Haltech set up on his, and that'd be a great conversation with you.
K20s are quite tall engines, certainly the K24s.
That's what I have. It's really
tall.
It's 25 and a half inches.
Yeah, but your K20, you're not mating it to a normal gearbox, are you, or rear diff? What route have you gone through
I'm
again?
using S2000
S2000
box
with adapter plate.
Yeah, I already have that. The flywheel, I got it from PLM, I think. It's not the fanciest company, but they have a lot of things. And I used somebody, I can't remember the clutch company, but they have a thing that's for.
Just going to step away for a moment, guys.
Yeah. They have a kit that's like, use this clutch with this flywheel. And then I had to use like B series flywheel bolts because they're not. Yeah. They're an eighth of an inch shorter, and all these weird. I mean, things that are available. I just found them the other day in a box, so that's great. But you know, there are a lot of things that aren't just plug and play. That are not plug and play to be like eliminated as an option. But it could have been easier if I had used a single donor, which is what we always talk about. You know, when we talked to Steve and Al, and Steve used the Alpha. Like, it's cool, and he had a heck of a time with a couple things, but at least all the parts bolted together. You know,
that Alpha edge is going to sound amazing as well. All Alpha. I mean, I had an Alpha 33 as a teenager. It was actually a company car, 1.6. Or was it a 1.8? Cloverleaf 33 Boxer. All Alpha engines sound absolutely brilliant, in my opinion.
They can't have can't have a weird firing order or anything. I wonder if it's just like a cam profile that they always had, or the way exhaust always works out. Because every cool Alpha sounds good.
Yeah. Every in my mind, every Alpha sounds brilliant. But mine was the Boxer, so it's opposing cylinders. But yeah, I do remember when I first got it. We'd been to a party or whatever, and I was driving it back. My brother was following me, and I was hoofing it through the back lanes. And when we got back, he said, John, I could see flames coming out of your exhaust. So it was, I didn't notice. I couldn't hear it, but apparently it was popping and banging, and there's flames coming out the back of my exhaust just because I was hoofing it through the back lanes. And cracking. they often say, and you're never a petrol head unless you've owned an Alpha. You will spend a lot of money on them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they're hard to find here running.
Yeah.
Good point. It's Josh Lee in New Zealand that we did.
Oh, yeah. The guy who made the whole carbon-bodied.
Yeah.
Well, and
Oh yes. I watched that the other night.
and
Actually,
Oliver Picard's using a turboed K20 in his GTM, which is going to be.
Yeah.
I just watched that other video yesterday.
Yeah, wasn't that an amazing?
Yeah,
that was
I mean,
one of the
that guy
best
is like-
produced shows. I love that show.
I've kind of like jumped in on the bandwagon, and I do share posts every now and again, but I think I can't be seen to be sharing too many posts. But I did drop her a note and say, look, have you considered posting it on Complete Kit Car magazine, which is Complete Kit Car Builders group? I'm quite happy to repost it, but I don't want to be seen. We spoke about this, Jim. I don't want it to be seen to be coming from me. But yeah, what a cracking video it is. Those lights that he's fitting as well.
Yeah. I had to go and
absolutely going to fit it down absolutely to a T. He's done his research, but it's not just the headlights. It's actually the indicators as well, and then the fog lights. He's clearly switched on, done his research, and knows what's going to look good on.
Well, he knows what he wants, and this gets back to what we're planning to do with our webinar. It's doing the research, like what we were talking about initially about doing the webinar is the difference between building from the book and then
go in your own way. Yeah.
Well, but you're taking on someone else's project, and it's been, they built a space frame designed for their use. And then just as Dave has mentioned, his car, as he received it, it was designed to have a bike engine, and that's not the route he's going. So he's going to have to make some changes, right? And the same thing with Mike. I mean, that car, I think, was supposed to have a rotary engine, and the tunnel was designed to be narrow because it was using Mazda MX-5, or I think components, or maybe it was
because he said he went and got this like a Cortina rear end that was available in Germany, but not in England, and so he's gone to solid axle from what I believe must have been set up for independent.
Solid axle,
but also the nose of his diff, the offset is way different. Same as mine is. A Ford Mustang rear end has not a lot of offset left and right, just a little up and down because the way the pinion gear comes in. But Mazda, it's offset to the looking from the back, it's offset to the right like an inch.
And getting back to the webinar, this is the purpose of it, is so that we can create a forum where people can have some communication, because lots of the webinars and live streams, just as we're doing right now, people text in their responses and what they're looking for, but we're going to do it by phone in or Skype in, and so there'll be lots of opportunities to sit down and have a chat with the audience. Plus, if you want to jump into the show, just as like you two guys have done, I'll present a link and people can jump in and have a discussion, because lots of times you get an opportunity on a Zoom call to put up your hand, nobody responds to it, right?
Oh yeah. Exactly. Well, make sure when I'm talking that it says opinion, not advice. Because I'm not. I mean, I don't want to be responsible for that. You should definitely buy these two parts. They're only $6,000 a piece, and you're going to be sleeping on the couch for the next 5 years, but it'll work.
And by the way, your divorce papers have come through.
Yeah. Make sure your wife's not in the background.
Yeah, I like that cartoon that you posted, John, about the guy riding away with a smile on his face on his bicycle from the divorce proceedings, and he's butt naked because she's taken everything that he owns.
I've still got my bike. I think the beauty of the live streams is, well, the live, and the potential for it to go wrong is pretty high.
Yeah.
But you know full well that you're going to get an answer pretty much straight away, and you're going to get an answer from people that know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, not
Uh,
necessarily. I mean, it can
Or
be
at
just a
least are
laugh like
trying.
we're doing right now. And
yeah,
this is
yeah.
kind of, I'm going to toss this out to you guys. Let's have a chat about it. You know, John, earlier today you were telling me that you were disappointed that you didn't get the opportunity to do a live from Cumbria, I think it was.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Well,
and
the
because
weather was really bad.
well,
Anyway,
there's that, but aside from that, one of the things we're finding, particularly in the UK, is the cell coverage as at best
oh, terrible,
patchy,
terrible,
patchy, and
terrible.
it's
Yeah.
horrible. So what we've been doing, and what we did yesterday with Dave and Mike, is rather than do a live stream and have it be miserable and buffering out, which is
Oh,
kind of what it would have done. Mike was was broadcasting from his garage, and you know what, the reception was horrible, but because we did it by way of a recording, we're getting it now in 1080p,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's uploaded now. One of the things I'm supposed to be doing right now is editing it, but I'm not, because I'm a
Come
lazy
on,
bastard.
put a step in it, Jim. Oh yeah, I did the low cost video. I'm working on it. It
Yeah.
wasn't the best. It wasn't the best.
Oh, you're talking about Robin Hood, the Robin Hood one?
Yeah, the Robin Hood one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
know.
like that. I think it's terrific. I mean, any opportunity to get up there and have a chat with people about what they're doing and then tell that story. I mean, there are people who know the history much better than you and me, but
Absolutely.
nobody's doing it.
Absolutely.
I mean, what we're doing on Seven Spot is completely different from anything anybody else is
Well,
doing, and I think we're doing it well. As we get better and better and more into it, we're doing some pretty good stuff.
It's completely different from a magazine format or whatever. Because
Well, we're not a magazine,
No, we're not. Definitely not a magazine.
We're more like a TV station, if anything.
Well, but we can go in and visit people's sheds, go and meet the people, talk to the people, which you won't get across in hard print. Not that we're competing at all with hard print or magazines or whatever. But yeah, we just go and speak to people. And that is when you get the best stories. You get the best stories when you go and speak to people, even at car shows, because we also cover live car shows.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the All British Field Meet as well that we did, Jim?
Yeah, we did it, and that the cell coverage there this particular time. The first time we did it, the cell coverage was great. This time was not great, and
it was sketchy. It was sketchy.
That was a great way to put it. It was horrible. I'm thinking those type of events, we may just, live events, I think, work out well, just as we're doing them right now, because we're in the privacy of our own homes. We've got, I have an Ethernet connection. I suspect, John, you have one, and I know Dave's got one. So that's why our feed is great and solid right now. But not everybody has that opportunity if they're out and about. So I'm thinking, the live shows probably are going to be best received in the format of weekly
recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not so much recorded, but just chat shows.
Yeah. I mean, Santapod, as you know, Jim, absolutely abysmal. We just gave up. We couldn't live stream. We couldn't live stream or do anything from Santapod.
But you can do it by way of 1080p and do a recording, and coordinate with someone like me who can upload the feed and then immediately put it into broadcast mode on 7 Spot. So it's almost live, but unedited and in raw format. But up she goes. In fact, that's what I did with Josh Lee. I mean, when he did his recording, its live stream with us, I took it, and because it was when he did the recording, it was in 1080p, and I immediately changed it and popped it out as a streamed, almost live. So you'll see it on our 7 Spot site in 2 locations. One is in our YouTube recordings, and the other one is in live streams. So I'm thinking
I'll
That,
have a look at that then. I'll have a look
yeah.
at that on StreamYard. It's
So what,
StreamYard we're using, obviously. Yeah,
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 and you can do it by way of a recording, 1080p, and then it'll you can download it. And I just pounded the individual recordings together real quick and popped it
yeah,
up
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
up. It worked great, and the reception has been great. People love it, and people can see something that's really good in 1080p. It's not 4K, but that's
It's
what we're
close
doing.
enough.
I don't
Yeah,
think anybody's
absolutely.
actually watching anything in 4K anyway.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's so much
Yeah,
more efficient to just regular HD. Even my 4K monitors, which is foolish,
yeah.
I have to use everything in 1080 just because it doesn't matter unless you've got something useful.
Hmm.
Nobody
And
needs that
yeah,
resolution.
exactly. This is what I say to YouTube as well, because most people, when we chuck these videos out, most YouTube YouTube will compress it down anyway. Shockingly, by the
mhm.
way, but most people will watch it on their phone, and
Yeah,
that will not be 4K, and it won't be 1080p either.
yeah,
And then YouTube compresses it even shockingly less. So most people won't notice the difference.
yeah. Where it shows up though is on Facebook, and Facebook
Yeah, yeah.
appalling resolution. But the big thing that Dave, I think, will probably pop in. This is a remarkably boring segment for our show, but
We're,
the thing
we're
that
talking, we're
Dave and I
talking,
both agree on is audio quality is paramount. You know,
yes,
you know.
we're talking technical here,
Yeah,
and it's technical as in, oh, blah, not about cars, but yeah, no, I think it is important for people because I love bringing people on and teaching them how to make videos or encouraging them to make videos about road trips out or their cars or whatever. So yeah, I've helped quite a few people.
yeah.
Uh, One of them was like, how to upload it to YouTube. Well, I say, okay, I take him, I give them screenshots. What you do, click on this, click on this, click on that, and it's great, and it's the more we can encourage people to upload
What
videos
is he
or
doing?
take videos,
What is that
is
guy
great.
doing?
Who's that?
Dave, I think you've frozen.
No,
No, you have frozen.
I changed my camera input
Yeah,
uh,
and
to
Uh,
my
don't,
camera. Like while we're here, I might as
I
well. I
know.
mean, if we're going to be boring and nobody's going to watch, then I'll just fool around.
don't,
Yeah,
don't,
you might as
don't
well. But I just thought I'd let you know that your camo picture has completely frozen.
Oh
Your,
yeah, it's just black. I know.
well, it's
not,
great.
not,
It's
not
very
from here.
annoying.
And don't get me started on my camera today. I've had a right nightmare with it. My PC just decided to ignore it. So go into the StreamYard. Your device can't recognise it. It's been blocked. I think I've not done anything. So then I've tried to install my Razer. I've got a Razer webcam.
Mhm.
It didn't like that at all. And absolute nightmare. I just couldn't get any camera to work. But anyway, I managed it in the end.
Well, that's cool.
I
Are you
think
back
Dave's.
with us, Dave, or is
I think it's,
Oh yeah, I'm going in and out because I'm trying to get this camo camera to work. But this is the problem we had the other day when when I was testing it.
yeah?
It says it should sync perfectly,
We're
and
talking about latency here, folks.
yeah, and it just
yeah.
for me just kind of
It's not too bad.
it's
Yesterday it was it was lagging a bit.
at the beginning it was kind of bad
That sounds
when
good
I
to me.
made. Well,
Oh, it's
now
not that. It's
I'm
just
not
this.
using the camo camera right now. This
It's
is
the
just on
sync
my
between the video and the audio he's talking about because
yeah
Okay.
when I
his
use
lips
my
were
Yeah.
moving, but not a whole bunch was happening properly.
yeah my
Yeah.
camo camera works in the app, but when I use it, even when I look at it in the app to
Hmm.
get the audio from my interface, it doesn't really like it, and
Yeah.
then it doesn't like the audio settings for camo should give me the virtual camo camera, virtual camo mic,
Yeah.
and that's not
Yeah.
even showing up right now either. So it could just be that I need to close and open everything a couple more times and then it'll wake up. But
that's what I tried with my PC today. I was pulling my hair out. Not that I've got much left, but yeah, nightmare.
Yeah.
But then I did nothing, and all of a sudden it started working, and I'm thinking, what? I don't know, just mental.
So, guys, it was great watching the Formula E today.
Who's won?
In London. 1 hour and 23 minutes worth. And
Wow.
I have no idea who was racing or who won. Dave can probably tell us. Was it Porsche? They won the test yesterday.
I don't know.
Yeah. See, this is
I don't
how
know any of Formula E. I know nothing about. I barely know enough about Formula One to function. But
I longed for those good old days of Formula One, when everybody was testing the rules, desperate, and
definitely.
all the cars were different. Everything was just different, and
you're back in the days where the Tyrrell came out with that 6-wheeler with four wheels at the front. I saw that at Brands Hatch.
I saw that at Sanford.
Because my late father used to work for Rantons, and they had a Grosvenor suite literally just before the start line, and we used to get free tickets every year to go, not necessarily to the Grand Prix, but any single race we could go to. We just walked in for free. I'm watching that Tyrrell and the 6-wheeler thing. It was a bit it was designed for more grip, but in the end of the day, it's just too heavy. It never really worked.
Yeah, the front wheels just didn't have enough gravity to them.
Is that the one with the 4 tiny front wheels?
Yeah.
Cool.
It did not develop enough downforce at the front. They were spinning out all over the place at Sanford.
Well, it's like the Nissan Delta Wing car.
Yeah,
that
kind
shockingly
of.
had like great braking, even though it was, a mile to the nose. I don't know. Those guys know a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, guys, what can I say? Thank you for tuning in and helping me waste an hour and a half. Now I suppose I should edit your video, Dave, and get it
up. Come on. Yeah,
I still got to make my walk around for you.
Put a step in it, Jim. Come on, crack on.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be long and involved, Dave. Just walk around and you don't even have to say anything. Just like fire it my way.
It'll be something simple.
Yeah,
but it'll work out.
Okay, guys, I'm going to end it. I'm going to terminate this.
Sounds
and I feel sorry for those zero people who are watching.
Well, because we're also all logged in as the same person. So
the only place I posted this was on our Facebook group, and it's hiding in a private a private location on YouTube, so nobody knows about it.
I was going to say it's not been advertised, so nobody knows about it, so we can say what we want.
Yeah, well, I don't mind doing these things. I want to do more of them just like this, impromptu, and just have people join in. So what do you think? Has it got some potential?
Yeah, especially if it's just mindless, like nobody's really paying attention to it. I wouldn't want to do it during a Formula One race, maybe, because sometimes we need to watch. But
I think I would stay away from Formula One anyway, just simply because I don't want my butt sued. So
for copyright and so on.
As you can tell, I left the sound off on this, so I don't think we're. One could say that this was a common use on this. On this, because there's no sound, you get the commercials, everything that they paid for, they're getting. So,
and don't get me started on Facebook again, because I've got another strike today to say that a post that I put up in 2022, two people have put a copyright claim against it, and I looked at the copyright claim and I'm thinking it was a post that I've shared from Facebook to another group, and then these guys have tried to put a claim in to say that it's copyright, and I'm thinking, Facebook, protect me, please. That's how I've dealt with it. Just absolutely mental. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Jim. Copyright. Yeah, you need to stay on the right side.
Yeah. Wait till you write your own music.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you accidentally copy something that just sounds familiar, but it's a little
Yeah.
too familiar, and it's
Yeah.
less than 70 years after the last guy was died. Yeah.
As George Harrison said, it's just a riff.
Yeah, well, I just bought 2 books with 20,000 themes, all of the, like with orchestral music and opera and song themes. So I can be careful now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, cool.
Anyway,
Well, guys, have yourself a great day.
yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
terminate this mess.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Have a great day.
All right.
Yeah.
And have a
Yeah.
great night there, John.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget, be seeing you.
All right. See you at 7 Spot.
Yeah. Be
All
seeing
right,
you.
guys.
See ya.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Bye.